Hey man, what's up, my brother? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me on the show.
Man, I love it. I love it. Back on. We talked last week, and yeah, man, I'm glad we got to rekindle. I guess it was a week ago, right? Or no, the following week, I guess. So
It was a
time,
quick. I think it was two
time
weeks
is
ago.
yeah, 2 weeks ago. So time goes by so fast, dude. When you're busy, right?
You know what? Since this is role reversal, and now you're the host and I'm the guest, you mind if I get comfortable?
Yeah, dude. You get comfortable. There you go.
Let's get comfortable, shall we?
Yes, sir.
Because I got a feeling this is going to be a good show.
Yeah, man, for sure. Always a good conversation. I love talking to you, Jody. And so much going on in arm wrestling, dude. Like, it just crazy. Like, I wanted to kind of, segue into just some action. I know you busy working on the weekends and stuff, but did you happen to see the 220 round robin?
That I did. Was rough now working at the jail, and you work weekends. So it's kind of like, okay, I didn't get a chance to see any matches from the King of Table, so I have to wait till they come out to actually watch them. But while I'm at work, and I was working doubles all last weekend, so had some downtime. I was able to check it out, not live, of course, but I was able to check out some of the matches from the Arizona State. And I did catch that. And before I go any further, hey, speedy recovery for AJ Henson and Dallas Langston. They got some injuries in that round robin, so I just want to wish them some speedy recovery and to get back soon, fellas.
Yeah, for sure, man. It sucks to and how ironic that Dallas, AJ hurt his bicep with Dallas, and then Dallas ends up later on. And he was looking really like he was on fire too. He had his strap game, which he's known for anyway. I mean, it's not surprising anybody in the sport. They
Right.
know his strap game's amazing. So wanted to say what's up to Chance Shaw in the chat. What's up, Chance? We're going to see you next week at the East versus West, or sorry, the East versus West, the East, East versus West. What is that?
The Challenger Series.
Challenger Series, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So all those great matches. Chance has been talking about them on his YouTube channel. He's been having great interviews. So guys, I recommend go check that out. But yeah, so we're talking 220. You saw it. You're busy at work, working doubles. You got the chance to see some of the matches. What was your overall opinion of the event?
I thought it was great. The round robin, I think this might be the new flavor of the month type deal. What I mean by that is that you saw what happened with the round robin with the 198-pound class. Everyone saw what happened with the ladies round robin, and now you got the 220. So I'm thinking, this might be the new thing. And rumor has it that I think Florida's hosting the Supers in a round robin, if I'm not mistaken. That's the rumor. I could be wrong, but that might be the rumor. I think when you have all those studs and studettes in one class, we all want to see, well, who's the best, because everybody got to pull each other. You just hope that everyone is healthy when it's all said and done, but I'm excited.
Yeah, no, that is exciting. And I did not know that. Thanks for dropping that. That's incredible. I like to see that live. I mean, I am a huge fan of this type of event because I feel like it's one of those events that, the true warrior, wins, because arm wrestling is more than just strength, of course, endurance, and heart. Really, at the end of the day, you got to have like some major heart to be able to go through those matches, man. It's so crazy how like so many, like after the fifth, sixth round, you see the dynamic of how things change. Like, for instance, Craig, I had him, I said to you a couple weeks ago on your show that I thought he was going to win, and then I was pushing towards Andre.
Lo and behold.
Yeah, but I thought Craig was going to do a lot better. And then you saw him start off with elbow foul loss, and then, a couple tie-ups, the endurance. I mean, he, being a smaller guy, that class too, I mean, it's tough. But I just thought, he was going to do a lot better. But, then you see some of the young guys like Ryan and Mike Bedwell. Those guys were really surprising and did really well. So, you can see sometimes things can change. Some of the guys that you might not know as well, have better endurance and stuff. So it's just interesting. I think what LeRae Jenkins is doing, man, is a phenomenal idea. And it seems like it's going to get to the point where they're going to have belts and stuff.
Woo, that'd be nice.
Yeah, and like some championship stuff, sort of like having a league here in America, which I really do believe we need to have that. And speaking of like just arm wrestling, the controversy, with Arson, being the suspended athlete and competing, and then the headache that he's caused over this whole arm wrestling world. And then
can I say something on that?
Yeah, go ahead, Jody.
So here's the thing: as far as Arson goes, whether Tim Thomas got the call from whoever, Coach Ware or whatnot, or LeRae got a call or got contacted, it's not on them. And I need to put this out there because I'm glad that Tim got on Paul Talia's show yesterday to kind of stop the bleeding, because it was a suspension, not banned. People were saying he was banned. He was suspended. And the last thing we want to do is start throwing out stuff that's not true. Okay, so let's iron that out. First of all, he was suspended, not banned. And I do believe his suspension is lifted by September, so it won't matter anyway. Second of all, knowing wholeheartedly, it should be up to the athlete to say, hey, I cannot compete. And you can say for personal reasons. You don't have to say exactly why, but just say, I would love to, but I can't right now for personal reasons. Leave it at that. Because it's not fair to put those promoters who are doing a hell of a job in jeopardy because the athlete decided not to say anything, knowing wholeheartedly that, he was in the wrong. And now all of a sudden the promoters are getting backlash. They're getting phone calls. And, if you watch Paul Talia's show, they really touch base on that. I would want people to kind of watch it so you can kind of get an understanding. But, yeah, I mean, LeRae's been doing an awesome job. Tim's been doing an awesome job. Even Chance, he does an awesome job. He's in What's Up, Chance again. I know he does an awesome job. But again, this has nothing to do with the promoters. Promoters don't know. They don't have I don't think they guys have a what is it? The WADA list? Is that what it's called? The WADA?
Yeah. They don't have any list of competitors.
Right. They don't have that in hand going, hey, registration. Oh, wait, what's your name? Mm-hmm. They're not doing that. They got so much other stuff they got to deal with. It's like, hey, register, sign your name, tell me what class, the typical registration form, and hey, they got to worry about making sure the event runs smoothly. They got to worry about, hey, you need a break as a rep. I'll step in for a couple of matches, go get some water, a bathroom break, whatever. They got so much to worry about. Didn't worry about somebody who was suspended and they can't participate. That's not their fault. Them as the promoters. That's up to the athlete. He knows better. Apparently he pulled that Bill Collins event and Bill didn't know. So what's the common denominator in all this? The promoters don't know, the puller does, and he's just walking here whacking everybody. Of course, when you see that, then all of a sudden you open Pandora's box. Well, if he wasn't there, would it be a different scenario? I don't know, maybe, but Andre was whacking everybody anyway. But who would have came in second, third, and so on? So that does kind of play a factor into that,
Well, now Jordan comes second, and he gets the prize money for second place, which was a different sum. And also, right. I mean, it's all on Arson. I mean, that's what I was trying to get to about just saying, and that's a terminology, suspended, banned, because of the bans with competing in different organizations, but that was my fault. But yeah, suspended. Anybody that knows they're suspended should always be truthful. This is causing more drama. And now you have to, as a promoter, and I'm going to have LeRae and Chris on Sunday on my show at 10:30 Eastern, if you guys want to tune into that. And they're going to, reiterate, what they did on Paul's show and their live stream when Luke was on. And, so, they explained it well. I feel like people get upset because they get in this mindset, and I'm guilty of it too, because I don't like dictatorships. I don't like people telling you what to do. I didn't realize that if you're suspended, you can't even practice. You know what I mean? Like it seems to be a lot. But I looked up WADA rules in general, and for the majority of sports, that's the case. Like if you're a volleyball player, whatever, Olympic athlete, and you get suspended, you're not able to train. Like you can't show videos, and so I understand, but I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff. But the thing about it is with Tim, and what people don't understand with promoters, they have to abide by certain rules because they want the best competitors there. So people that are saying, F these guys, they're not coming over here to tell us what to do and blah, blah, blah. We're Americans, or you know what I mean? Like being hostile about that stuff. I get that mindset. I understand because, you know, I have some personal opinions on the way arm wrestling's run in a whole anyway. And every time someone comes in with a league, they want to start trying to make all these rules and own everything. You know what I mean? Like, so
Right.
like the number one thing here is if you're suspended, you don't show up at events, man. And if someone invites you, like they were, you know, Tim invited him.
Right.
Originally, I was going to take Tim's spot, but I couldn't make it. So, and then Arson's there. So, you know, and he, you know, all those wins that he got on those guys, it could have made a difference in how they performed. I mean,
yeah.
So it's just nonsense. It's not fair. You know, hopefully Jordan, you know, gets his due of second place in the prize money, which I'm sure he did. So that's good. But yeah, it's really a question about people's integrity and how they are when it comes to competition and stuff. Unless, I mean, he didn't know that he could compete over here, but I don't know.
Well,
and for them not to notice Bill Collins's event, I mean, that's pretty crazy too. Like, but I guess maybe more eyes were on this event. And I feel like a lot of people are watching this, and as soon as they see something that's not good, like I feel like sometimes people just want to kind of like almost like you know, hate on other leagues and stuff. And if something's wrong, they'll bring it right to the attention of people. So but anyway, Tim and those guys really addressed it, and I'm glad, you know. I'm glad.
Boy, I'm glad you brought that up. Did you want to segue into that with all the different leagues?
Yeah, dude, for sure. Like
my here's my thing. And we, you know, I'm on another talk show too, right? The Can-Am Connection with SB and
yes,
Tim Talmadge
yes. I haven't checked that out yet, but I'm going to check it out.
And Nathan Williamson. So that topic came up, right? And there's nothing more frustrating for me as a puller. Now, when I say this, I am not bashing any promoter out there. So let me get that out there. So at the 12:25 mark in this show, I'm not bashing the promoters. Now, it would be awesome if across the board we got the same weight classes for one, you know, because then it's like, okay, you know, one organization, I'm good to go, I'm ready to pull, where at that same weight at a different organization or promotion, now I got to cut weight. And that's kind of aggravating because I just want to compete, you know. If it's straight across the board, I think the area system would be a lot more accurate than it is. I think the ranking system would be a lot more accurate than it is. Because if you think about it, Craig, I think you noticed there's two separate rankings. There's the In the Hook rankings, which is just North America, right? USA and Canada. Then there's the Arm Fighter rankings, and that's just Americans. But they both got different set of weight classes, and that's different. It throws everything off, right? So let's start with that first, okay? Second of all, I think so many people are trying to reinvent the wheel, right? We all came into this sport. I know I did back in late 2010. That's how long I've been in the sport. I grew up with the, you know, the strict rules. Fuck, I grew up. Oh, can we cuss on the show?
Yeah, dude, for sure. Come on, man.
Make sure. Woo! All right. I fucking sat there. I came in a league where we had Velcro straps. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Where I was like, okay, this is what we grew up in. And I understand from the point of view where you want to be watchable, where you got the running fouls. Hey, we don't want a bunch of elbow fouls. Okay, stop, start, stop, start. From a fan's standpoint, that's good. I get it. Problem is, what have we morphed from that? Now you got people at these bigger promotions cheating their asses off in their ref script. When we thought, hey, the ref says don't move, that's exactly what you do. Don't move. And they're still doing that. And the refs are allowing it because I don't know if they're getting intimidated by the puller because of their caliber, their stature, popularity, what have you. And see, now you're just kind of like, it's getting watered down.
You're opening the whole Pandora box there, Jody.
I am, and I don't give a goddamn because I'm gonna tell it like it is. This is who I am. This is the ABCs of me, and I'm gonna lay it on the line. Now, not crapping on the MAC tournament. You know, Ian Carnegie's event. I didn't see it. My co-host saw it, but I didn't see it. But my only gripe about it was that you had Jocelyn Brisson, who recently just beat Sarah Bachman in that round robin, right? and you had Heidi Cordner. Well, here's the problem. That match had WAF rules, but the rest of the tournament had the actual promotion MAC rules. Why are you doing that? And Ian, I talked to Ian about this, and he said, well, I did it because it was more of a ranking thing. I'm like, okay, then my thought was like, if you're going to do that, why not have that on the actual WAF kind of table instead of the table he has where it's 9x9 pads, and then the pin pads are like in the half crescent moon circle. Why have a rankings match if it's going to be WAF rules? Then why have that kind of table then? It doesn't make any sense. And then I asked him down the road, are you going to sit there and have another match where, hey, this is for rankings, you guys are going to have this set of rules, but my tournament with the other guys are going to have a different set of rules. Do you see what I'm saying? You're just watering everything down. And I'm not crapping on this promotion. I'm just saying, take a step back and look at what's coming out, you know? And we've been, I don't want to use the word judgmental, but when you talk to other people like Knuckles Up, hey, I thought this was cool. I thought, you know, the refereeing, like the Merlot match where it took forever to find out who the fuck elbow fouled, who didn't. Come on, man. It shouldn't take that long. It kind of stretched out the pay-per-view more than it should have. They understood that, hey, thanks for your feedback. We're going to try to make things better. So by September 14th, the next Knuckles Up, it will be a lot better. Whereas some organizations will take that as like, oh, you're hating on my promotion. No, it's not that. It's like we're trying to help each other out by making it better, but you don't need to have certain rules for one match and then certain rules for another match, and then you have an oblong table. It just doesn't make any sense.
And, you know, it's a common thing I've seen with that happening and during super matches, athletes preferring a certain rule set different from the event, you know, and it is confusing when you can't really keep track of all the rules. Because to be honest with you, I just ask the rules when I go to the tournament. Like I talk to the referee. I'm like, how you say, what's your cadence, you know, and what are the rules here? Is there running fouls, whatever, like, you know, and then I just take it from there. But yeah, there's a lot of mixture out there at different events for sure. And the weight classes, that's annoying as fuck, dude. Like they should have just straight across the board weight classes. And, you know, instead of like one tournament's like 209, the other tournament's 231, then there's 242s, then there's not 242s. And then, you know what I mean? Like it's just, it gets too confusing. I'd rather just have the normal AAA weight classes that we're all used to, you know, the 154s, the 76s, the 98s, the 220s, 242s, and supers, right? Like, so it just keeps it.
I'll give you 3 examples. I am currently weighing 236 pounds right now, okay? 236. I'm going to give you 3 examples. If I were to pull in your basic WAF IFA 242 class, I'm good. If I'm pulling in the Greg Sharp World Series of Arm Wrestling, I got to watch myself because his class is 239. And then Supers is 240 and over. If I'm pulling Bill Collins' tournament, then I fucked up. Now I'm in the Supers because his is 233 and over as Supers, and then heavyweight tops that at 232. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
I'm not blaming them. It's just for me, it's like, okay, if I'm going to this event, I got to either watch what I eat. If I'm going to this event, damn, I'm overweight. Shit, I got to do a hard weight cut. Or if I'm in this event, I'm good to go. Just roll. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Chance just kind of piped in here about the unified weight classes that have been pretty consistent in the international events. And I like those weight classes too. I mean, I don't know the translation from kgs right off the top of my head. I get the idea but 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, and 110 plus kg. So basically every 5 kgs. And that's been going on for a long time. So yeah, I prefer just like if we all kept, you know, just the same dimensions of the table and the elbow pads, you know, the height of the table and the weight classes. I think that would be less confusing to people. And like you said, you wouldn't have to cut weight. But like I said a couple weeks ago, people like to do different things because, like you said, they want to reinvent the wheel, and then you get like people shitting on it or whatever, and then they're not successful. It's such a weird dynamic. I wish they would just focus on making the sport what it is right now just better instead of trying to do like do different rule sets. I mean, I like the round robin things like that. That's a great idea with the weight classes. It really kind of sees who's on top and stuff. But as far as like doing all these weird tournaments and stuff with different rule sets, I feel like it just confuses people.
It's just my opinion, and I'm gonna get heat for this, but I don't care because I've already had my fights with that promotion. With our arm gods, I totally said I thought the thumbtack match was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It's not arm wrestling, and
I don't even watch that stuff, dude, because really they turn me off with the fist fighting. That's all bullshit. I know Evan wants to say it's real and they project that they really got in a fight and shit, but that's nonsense, dude. And if that's how you have to sell arm wrestling, like I like Paul Maiden. I love him. Like he's a great guy. I got to meet him when I first got into the sport. But I don't like the shenanigans with the fighting. And then Uncle John fucking guys fighting. It's like you try to sell like that just turned me off. And I didn't even get the pay-per-view. And I don't even really care about the matches because they're not really that interesting. If you got to have fist fights and shit before a match, I mean, I'm not really interested in that type of
if
scenarios.
You gotta do that to bring people in, then you're missing a boat. I mean, I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to focus on
WWE. It's like WWE wrestling. It just doesn't make the sport look professional. You know what I'm saying? It makes it look like it's a joke.
This is why, here, 2 points. This is why we can't get off our own selves. Because one, why do you think WWE works? Because they are who they are. They tell you that. UFC, they are who they are. They tell you that. Hell,
yes.
Slap fighting has come out of nowhere and overtook us because they are who they are. They don't try to be nobody else. I think our sport, we try so hard to be somebody else that we're not, and it's not working.
And there's different people doing it.
Do you remember the X Arms? Remember that?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, crazy.
How long did that last?
It didn't even last. Like it just.
You see my point?
Yes.
You can't start doing that kind of stuff and expect that. So I had a big conversation with this because I had Paul Maiden and Evan on my show talking about this. And all of a sudden I said, look, you're trying to cater to like the age 18 to 25-year-old range. I get that. You want to see, this is pretty cool because we live in a world now where everybody likes to see the car crash, right? I get that. You wanted the younger people, okay, cool. What if those younger people that glued on because they saw somebody, bleeding all over the place with thumbtacks, what if they go watch East vs. West? You're not going to see that. What if they watch King of the Table? They're not going to see that. And then they're going to wonder, well, wait a minute. Where's the blood? Where's the thumbtacks? Are they going to stay?
Can you explain to me the thumbtack match? I never even heard of this.
So it was Uncle John and Evan Burgoyne. It was a thumbtack match. Oh, you'll love the next one they got for grab. Thumbtack match. They had a custom-made pin pad full of tacks with the tacks sticking out.
What is this, like a Nick Foley fucking match here?
This is fucking Sandman, Terry Funk, Nick Foley, all that stuff, right? Sabu. Jeez. It was basically EC. That's the Renegade promotion.
Yeah.
The problem I had was that at the time, this was back in February, I think. At the time, they try to tell people and convince people this is the new way of arm wrestling. Now what they're saying, probably because they got so much heat, is that, okay, it was a gimmick match. Okay, then call it that. Don't try to convince everybody and try to convince the whole world out there that this is new arm wrestling. And then guess what's happening next, Craig? Hey, chat, check this out. Y'all probably know this. They're going to have a shock match. Do you see what I'm saying?
So, what are they going to have shock collars around their neck?
No, like if you pin somebody, they get shocked.
Okay.
What they don't realize is that, okay, if me and Craig are in this shock match, right, and I pin Craig, the world's going to think, oh, Craig's getting shocked. Well, guess what? I'm connected to you. I'm going to get shocked too.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Man? That doesn't make sense.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Are you going to have somebody with a pacemaker fucking getting zapped or some shit? Hey, come on, man. I mean, what's it going to take? You know, like, come on, seriously. Uncle John, the press conference, and here's Paul Maiden, and he even said this. Go back. He even said this. He was not happy with the press conference. Well, yeah. Evan takes a beer, second year in a row, smack Uncle John, and he hit him like here, but for some reason, the blood scar was there.
It's all fucking fake, dude. It's all phony. Right. And then they try to, I read the comments online, and I'm like, I know people are really stupid and they're really easy manipulated. Trust me, I have conversations with people all the time. They have no clue what's going on in the world because they're fucking on Instagram and doing stupid shit or working. You know what I mean? Like they don't have time to do research and stuff. But like you can't think that people are that dumb. Like it's so dumb. It's the worst. It was the worst. I grew up in Nova Scotia and there we had Atlantic Grand Prix wrestling. It was like this fucking local wrestling shit. Is the worst ever, dude. And that was worse than that. It's just insane. And the fight with him and Paul and Evan, I know Evan, dude. If that was real, he would have fucking, it would have been a crazy fight. And he's overseas, dude. Pick up a felony overseas. See what happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I get the whole no one press charges or whatever bullshit, but you're trying to sell an event, and it makes it look like it's nonsense, and it separates it from the events like that we're trying to progress arm wrestling, like the East versus West, the King of the Table, the invitationals, like. Like I saw some crazy shit happen at the tournament where a guy shoved the guy and one of the Australians, I guess he pulled him in the strap hard or whatever. Yeah. They made up, but it was very intense there for a second. And that's kind of like bums out the sport, when people can't keep their emotions in check and they got to fucking shove people. And I understand heat of the moment. Fuck, I'm guilty as charged, dude. That would be my whole life. But thing about it is now you try to contain yourself so that you don't let your emotions, dictate, how you act sometimes, being frustrated. So it can really rub off on the sport. I feel like it's silly. And I feel like now I can't even take those types of people serious because Evan's a great arm wrestler. But if they're just doing these matches where there's going to be fights and tacks and shock matches and shit, I mean,
that's his.
Hopefully it's successful if they can make money and shit. I mean, but it's fucking retarded. That's what it is. I mean, it's nonsense.
Well, here's my thing. To put a bow tie on this, I'm not hating on the promotion. I think people will take my opinion about the one match and twist it and say, "Oh, you're an Arm Gods hater." That's not what I'm saying, because the matches leading up to that were awesome because it was arm wrestling. You had legends there. Ron Bath was there. Tim Breslin was there. I mean, come on. RVJ was there. But for some reason, everything was more focused on that. And that's all I'm trying to say. And I'm going to say it one more time at the 27-31 mark. I'm going to say, look, man, I got nothing against Arm Gods. Don't try to tell the whole world it's arm wrestling when it's not. If you say it's a gimmick or a renegade promotion, perfect. Because at least you told the whole world what you're really about and not try to sashay it and then say, oh, well, you're a hater. No, it's just it ain't real arm wrestling. Gimmick matches are not real arm wrestling, period. That's all I'm saying. The rest of the matches were thumbs up. So if you're going to take my words and twist them, then take the whole conversation in a whole, not just take bits and pieces, chop it up and twist it, and then throw it out there, because we all know y'all can splice videos these days. So
it's funny, I never even gave it a chance to watch the other matches just by the previews of what was going on, so I just thought the whole event was like that. So I'll have to rewatch it and stuff. But I just feel like the main event matches or whatever, those kind of gimmicks, I just feel like it takes away the professionalism. And I know people say, I mean, people talking in the chat about how boring arm wrestling can be, and some people like this and stuff. I get it, but I'm 50 and 52 now, and I don't even enjoy wrestling anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just one of those things that I'm more of I want to see the professional. I want to see the high level, but like you said, the other matches were high level of Ron Bath and Tim and those guys. I didn't realize they were there, so I'll have to give it a watch on those matches. But I'm not shitting on them either. It's just that I feel like people are just trying to reinvent the wheel, and I feel like they just have high quality competitional, matches. I feel like, that's where people are interested in. You know what I mean? Like when you watch the 220 Invitational, I was glued to that because you're going to see 11, 12 different high level, you know what I mean? Like people pulling each other. It's crazy. Like,
yeah. East versus West. What, the next one coming up? Todd Zilla.
Yes.
Travis is going to make his appearance. You ain't got to sit there and that sells itself. That sells itself. I think what it is though, Craig, is that the arm wrestling purists, I know that Drew's talking, in the chat, the arm wrestling purists don't like it. It's the new breed. These guys who have been in the sport 3 years and under, they'll think, oh, this is cool. No, it ain't cool, man. This is not arm wrestling. What the fuck? We'll never get out of our way unless we start knocking this dumb shit out. Now, the matches before that, once again, it was awesome. But it's that kind of stuff. It's the fact that people getting banned. That's stupid, But, what are you going to do,
Yeah, it's crazy. Even talking about like the suspension of people like getting suspended, and then, just how like strict the mandates are for arm wrestling and stuff. It's like, I guess it's like that for the Olympic sports too. You're not really making any money. So, but, yeah, that's true too. Yeah. So I just feel like, I'm glad that, something like this did happen, and now people will be more aware, and maybe people won't try to come over to America when they're suspended. You know what I mean? So it'll be, I think it'll be better for the sport. But I just find it interesting, the comments people are making, getting upset about it. Everybody likes to get upset about stuff, man. And they're like,
society we live in, unfortunately,
yeah. But I
opinion, and all of a sudden you're in the wrong because you have an opinion. If you agree with them, moving on.
Yeah.
If you disagree with them, oh well, you're a hate. Now you're like classified as a hater, and you don't know what you're talking about, all because I don't agree with what you're doing. I mean, I'm not. My opinion is not the be all, the ends all. First of all, it's just an opinion. Just like you have no problem when somebody has an opinion about in favor of what you're doing. You're all good about that. But as soon as someone has an opinion that they don't like it, then you want to block them off social media and stuff. It's like, what the hell, man? If you want to improve on something, you got to take the good with the bad. You got to make things better. That's what it is.
And we're not saying Arm Gods is bad for arm wrestling. We're saying that it's just a different form of the way they're going about how they want to promote the sport, with their main events being like that. That's all. And I don't think people are going to really, on a high level, the people that we need to sponsor and take this sport to the next level, are going to be fans of that. That's all we're saying. And I'm not really a fan of the shenanigans. And you're right. I just don't watch it. And that's why I haven't watched it. And I really shouldn't even base my opinion too much on this, because I only went and saw some of the previews of some of the things that happened in the main event card. So like you said, Ron Bath, there's a high level of matches there. So, I got to give those a chance to watch those. But as far as, at the end and all the shenanigans, I'm just not really a fan of that, but that's why I don't watch it.
But Drew 24, love that guy. He's he's an Arm God supporter, but this is an example. It's like you're taking one match that I didn't like and thinking that, okay, well, promotion. I'm like, no, everything before that was awesome. All I'm saying is that now, and even Drew, you have to admit, now they changed their ways, because at the time, in real time, this is the new thing in arm wrestling. Now Paul has said, well, it was a gimmick match. Okay, if you would have said that from Jump Street, we'd have a better understanding. But he didn't. But now we know. So now at the next event where they're going to have this shock match, you know what you're in for. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. Now you know what you're in for. Exactly. Oh. So if you want to tune in, you'll tune in. If not, you won't. And Chance, he just made me laugh. He said mine and Austin's match is going to be a thumbtack and shock match. So hopefully I'm winning so I don't get shocked to death. But yeah, no, I'm not trying to shit on these guys, and I shouldn't even be talking about this event because I didn't even see it. I just thought the gimmick part was silly. But the thing about it is different eyes on arm wrestling, I guess, too, right? So, and I know Paul's going to be, improving the events. I mean, he's a high level competitor himself, a great guy, and he loves the sport. So he's not trying to do anything to harm it at all either. So. But, I think, having these really high level events with, these high level competitors is really, it's really great for the sport, especially on like the East versus West platform. And king of the table, man. Like the events just keep getting better as far as the video and the commentating. It's everything's getting smoother. They're really progressing to that almost like UFC kind of level, the way UFC was, when it used to be on Spike and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really incredible, and it's fun to watch. If you're a fan of watching the best in the world compete.
I will say this though, on the other side of the coin, with all these different organizations and promotions, you didn't have that 15 years ago, 10 years ago, because it was the same guys year in, year out, over and over again, the same names. But now when you have all these different promotions out there, and let's be real, ever since COVID, we have an influx of arm wrestlers, right? So now it's getting other people an opportunity to say, hey, I'm pretty good too, and I like that. Arm Wars, Arm Gods, Monster Factory, Montana Armbender, Knuckles Up. What was Magda's event before she changed the name? It was AWC, all those leagues, it gives people a stage where it's like, hey, there's more than just the elite pullers that can actually do some damage and put on some good matches, So kudos to that. So it's not all negative, but don't get me wrong. It's just that, some things are kind of like make you scratch your head, but it's giving everybody a platform. That's good. We're going places, maybe not as fast, but we're going places.
Yeah, for sure, man. Arm wrestling is definitely, growing in popularity, and we're seeing more views. People, when I talk about arm wrestling now, people like, old ladies at the at Walmart, they've heard of it. A lot of them know who Devin Laird is. I mean, it's crazy when but when I first got into the sport, people, would always say, "Oh, arm wrestling's a sport." Like that's what they'd always say. And then now it's like, oh, I saw it on, ESPN, or I saw it on whatever, YouTube usually, but they'll say it's ESPN or whatever. But the thing about it is it's just progressing. I mean, we used to be on ESPN. We used to have the John Brzezinski matches and stuff. It's just, I don't know if this sport is going to be able to get to that level where people are making money, and able to do that as a living. There's a few people that are doing it now, but it's YouTube and it's seminars and it's, winning matches and it's appearances, and it's, you got to be on that elite level. You know what I'm saying? Like, guys like Dave Shafee and Tim Bresnan, and those guys are, they're working, you know what I mean? Like, and,
Right.
So there's only a few people that are influencers that are making, some money, and there's
needle movers.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, as far as TV, and I think a lot of people don't take this in consideration. Maybe they do, but we're at the mercy of them when it comes to getting our sport on television. Hope everybody realizes that. We've seen it on ABC, Wild World Sports back in the day. We've seen it in the early 2000s on Fox Sports. We've seen it on ESPN. We've seen it on that kind of stuff. I think people need to understand is that we're at the mercy. What I mean by that is that if ESPN, if you ever saw ball on ESPN, it was only an hour, right? Kind of, yeah, kind of no, because you don't take consideration, we're going to throw in commercials too. So technically, you're probably only getting 42 minutes of it.
Yeah, like 2 matches.
Right. So you got to go, okay, I got to cram everything in 42 minutes because you also got to give, 15 to 18 minutes full of commercials too, right? So you got to go, okay, how can I cram all that in there? And it's like, well, now I got to take away some matches where it's like, hey, how'd you do it at WAL? Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to be on ESPN because I made the finals. And you may not get there because in the finals, you'll have like a Travis against Jerry. But then in the stats, they always show who they beat, maybe a highlight, but not the actual match itself. So people don't realize that. It's like, hey, well, they're going to give you so much time. And then, you got to pay for that stuff too. That stuff costs money. UAL or Robert Drink, that stuff costs money to have these big events with these big cash payouts. Then when WL, he went away, right? WL came into the fold. Steve Kaplan, another guy, big money and stuff. Okay, when he was tossing out, 10 grand for overall winners, and then, hey, how about 20 grand? And all of a sudden they went back down, and then it kind of fizzled out, and then Walt pretty much finished it off. A lot of arm wrestling off. But do you see what I'm saying? Like, if you continue, you got to have bottomless pockets or a big time promoter who says, hey, I work in the TV production, you know, and say, hey, we can do this thing. But it costs money. I think people don't understand that, you know. Dana White got money. Him and the guys over there at UFC,
yes.
that's why they continue to do that.
Yes.
That's
No,
all I'm saying.
100%. 100%. And now with this, with the arm wrestling anyway, and Drew made a comment here, and I agree, like, who cares about the Olympics? No one watches the Olympics anymore. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, it's really, to me, it's been declining for the last few years. Sports in general, you know, and there's all kinds of political reasons for that. You know, people don't watch sports when men compete against women, and you know what I mean? When you're in these different kind of realms of like swimming and whatever nonsense is going on there, it's hard to really be a fan of that, you know, nowadays. So, and the Olympics too is such a scam. Like, they make billions of dollars off of it, and the athletes make nothing. I mean, it's just crazy. And yeah, they have sponsorship and stuff, but it's the pay scale is way off. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't get paid, and they make millions of dollars off of these athletes that are amateurs because they're manipulated, because it's a high level in the Olympics. And I understand that, but they don't make any money at the end of the day. It's like college football, same thing. I mean, those kids are sacrificing their bodies, and the guys making the money are sitting in the stands, you know? So, but
I feel bad for like Greco style wrestling. Remember that big USA Rulon? Remember him?
Rulon Gardner. Yep.
Okay, so Olympics, he had his fate, he had his glory. He was basking in the sun, got that gold medal. What's he doing now?
He fought in MMA for a couple of years, and then I don't even know anything about him now. So,
you see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's that, like you said, it's not what it used to be. And Craig, you remember this? Remember that Reebok ad back in the day? Dave versus Dan, decathlon. Remember that Reebok ad? Yeah, some of you youngsters don't even know that, but that was a Reebok ad, and that was the big buildup, was that for the Olympics, decathlon, right? They didn't have no money. That was all Reebok sponsors and stuff. And they kind of fell by the wayside. But yeah, those are just the only time you get money if you got a sponsor sponsoring you to go, right? It's like going to WAF Worlds, IFA Worlds, whatever. Unless you got a sponsor or you got money, it's hard to get over there. And nowadays, with the economy being the way it is, this ain't 2010 no more, right? It ain't. You know, I mean, the question's been asked to me, you know, they want to pick my brain. Hey, man, how come Team USA can't send our heavy hitters there? Well, here's my opinion. Not saying I'm right, but here's my opinion. Well, let's see here. Ron Bath, been there, done that, got a world title. Travis Bajan, been there, done that, got a world title. Hey, Dave Chafee, been there, done that, got a world title. Oh, John Brzezinski, been there, done that, got a world title. Do you see what I'm saying? These guys have been there, done that. When you're at a certain age in life and go, okay, does it benefit me to go chase something I already got? Where, and this is back in the Wall area. Well, Wall's going to pay me to stay in my own country and pay me this amount of money. I can do that because unless I had a sponsor back then, that was on my own ticket. Now, some people, I applaud the people who still go because they can afford to go. I applaud them for doing that. But right now, the economy is not where it was 10, 12 years ago. It's not. Hell, even longer than that, because I think Dave Chafee won his world title in 2010. Mesquite, Nevada, by the way. You know, so I was like, what the fuck? You know, like, seriously, it's like times has changed. Things got more expensive. Airfare got more expensive since then, right? So you got to look at the geographical standpoint. You know, now the only reason why our guys are going over there, they're fucking, hey, well, if I miss work, I can get paid to go over there. That'll cover the time I got to miss for work. Do you see what I'm saying? Does you see how this works all out? You know, if England's paying for your flight, paying for your hotel, okay, I can afford to miss work if you have to work. I can afford to miss a few days because I'm getting paid all that money. And who knows, maybe you might get an extra if you win, whatever. But my point being is that this is where it's at right now. That's all I'm saying.
No, I agree. I agree, man. And like you said, when the high-level guys are making money or their trips are paid or whatever, it's hard to go over to get a medal at Worlds, which now people, you know, it's kind of watered down. Like even nationals, I mean, like it used to be, And I've said this time and time where you'd go to nationals and you'd see a bunch of guys, but since arm wrestling's progressed where the elite guys can make some money and have their trips paid for, they're not going to go backwards. You know what I mean? And the people that say, oh, why don't we get all our heavy hitters over there and stuff? They're not able to compete at that high level. I find the people that complain the most about different things, like the WAL contracts, were people that weren't even under contract. You know what I mean? Like no one like Matt Mask or Devin or Dave and those guys were ever complaining about, signing a contract for WAL, but some of the fans and some of the people out there were really fixated on, talking about how it's, trapping people in contracts and stuff, which, if you're getting paid.
I had a contract sitting right here. I can't find it, but yeah, I had a wall contract once upon a time, and, it is what it is. So here, I'll give you an example, Craig. If I were to sign strictly for WAL, let's just use this as an example, right? Which means, okay, if they said, Jody, we'll give you 3 matches per year. Okay. Now, if I'm all in, I can be like, you know what? That benefits me because of this. I'm not speaking for anybody else, but this is just for me. If that situation before COVID hit, because that's when my contract had, and COVID hit and fucked everything up. But if they said, hey, we're going to give you 3 matches for the year, cool, right? Guess what? The times I don't pull, I can hang out with my family. We can go on vacations, no big deal, because you don't have to struggle to balance life, because hell, I only got to pull 3 times all year. I can train. That's if I'm doing it. There's times my wife goes, babe, you can't go to every tournament, and you can't, because I don't want to get to a point where this sport takes over my life where, as I'm doing this podcast show, I don't want to have it take over my life to where, oh, should I do this or should I hang out with the family? That should never be a decision you have to make. You should already know what you got to do. That's just me though. I'm cut from a different cloth, but that's how I roll. Where
I feel also when you're in the sport, like for a while, you'll start like kind of evaluating how you can peak for events too. Like,
right. I mean, we'll take right now, 2024. What is it? June 6th, 2024. I've only competed in 1 event all goddamn year right now. That's just the way it is. You get a new job, you got, I go see my daughter graduate and get her master's, hey, I got to go do this and do that. I got other stuff planned. That's how it goes sometimes. It sucks as a competitor, but at the same time, hey man, I got other stuff I got going on too. You know what I mean? So you got to kind of look at it in the grand scheme of things. But again, that's just me. There's other years I was more competitive. I was going to more tournaments, but this ain't the year right now. That's just what it is, Yeah, not everybody can be Tim Lewis. Exactly. Where, but I don't know if Tim has a family though. I
think he lives with his parents still. I think he has like, he's able to compete. Like, that's he's very lucky in that aspect of things. But like, realistically, like you said, when you have families, let's use Paul Lynn for an example. High level competitor, probably the best 220er in North America, right?
Right.
So he doesn't compete in North America because he's focused on the East versus West or the king of the table over there where they pay, they put, you know what I mean? Like they take care of you and it's on a high level. And he only has to do that, like you said, like 3-4 times a year. He has to peak for these high level events that are paid for, and you can win some money. And probably because you're at that high level, who knows, maybe it could give you some sponsorship down the road. People see those, especially in Abu Dhabi. I mean, so much money.
Right.
So who knows what's going on behind the scenes with a guy like that. So, but like you said, it's taking care of their hobbies paid for. And they can just focus on training and their family, and they're not stressed out about, I got to pay $500 to go to Michigan State just for my plane ticket. And then I got to get a hotel and maybe I have a chance to win a gorilla, so.
Oh, yeah. So like here, my next tournament is in July, next month, right? In Fort Worth at the qualifier for the World Series of Arm Wrestling. Well, guess what? I'm taking the whole family with me, so now we get to hang out down in Fort Worth, Dallas area. I get to compete against Jamie Sheldon, pull a tournament, but we're going to do some sightseeing too. So once you have kids who are adults now, because my kids are adults now. So once you have kids who are adults now and you hang out with them, hey, where you want to go this year? Let's go here. Let's go there. That's what it's all about. And then, Armust is the cherry on top. Like, we made a vacation out of IFA Worlds in Orlando, Florida back in 2021 because, hey, and here's how it happened. From an arm wrestling standpoint, it was like, damn, Jody, it was Team USA. You didn't watch the Open? No, I didn't. I was only there for the 2 days I pulled Masters. One day was left, other day was right. After that, I'm on vacation. So me and the family went to Disney World. We're hanging out at Universal Studios. We're having a good time because now it's like my time is over. I did what I had to do. Cool. I competed, did my best, forget the rest. Now I'm on vacation. And so that's that healthy balance you got to have. You know what I mean?
No, for sure, man. And you have to make it sometimes a family event, and it's cool. Like my kids came to my last tournament. It was fun. They had a good time, and I used to try to separate that so much, but now since they're a little bit older, and my kids are competing in jiu-jitsu, so they're excited to watch me compete. So it's like, because they know the kind of what goes on with competition now. So yeah, man, it's really exciting. So I kind of want to segue a little bit into you know what I mean? I want to talk about you for a minute. And you've been in the sport, what, 12 years now? 11?
What is this? Going 14 years, I think.
14 years. So
yeah.
What got you into the sport right away? Like what was the hook to get you into the game?
Well, I was working at a warehouse. It was a solar plant, and a buddy of mine, his father-in-law used to put on tournaments in California, and he was like, "You ever arm wrestle?" I'm like, just with me and my brother-in-law, some friends. We're out on a Friday night having some beers on a coffee dining room table, whatever. Nothing drastic though, and this guy I was working with had to be an Alan Fisher fan, happened to be an Alan Fisher fan, who now lives in Idaho, by the way. So he goes, look at this video. It was a clip of like, I don't know, maybe 2005, maybe, or 2007 Arnold Classic. And that was the first glimpse I got. I'm like, damn, this dude is badass. He goes, oh yeah, he's real good. He got a big hand. I'm thinking, all right, cool. He goes, well, I'm putting on this arm wrestling tournament at the Harley Davidson dealership. And it's a Toys for Tots. So you could bring some toys or canned food. It's like a canned food drive type deal during Christmas time. And there's a tournament in the back of the showroom. I'm like, all right. It was just two-way classes, either 198 and down or 199 and up. I'm like, all right. So I'm up for cutting weight. Never did that, to get down to 198. And how corny this is. I win my weight class. So I got a ribbon. I got a ribbon. I still got it though.
Old school, baby.
Yeah, so I got a ribbon. So I thought that was the coolest thing. I'm like, oh, sweet. Whereas this guy who ended up being my mentor, Darren Wartina, and we call him Miyagi. And he was there. And he was about $165, $170. And I'm like, just under 198. So he was like, hey, $10 in. If you can beat this guy, like pin him one time, he'll give you $100. I'm thinking, I like that odds. So all I got to do is give you 10. If I pin you, I get 100. We can roll with that. Long story short, he smacked everybody. So I'm thinking there's got to be some kind of trick or whatever. I thought he had one of those magnetic bracelets on where it kept up steady or all that kind of stuff. So he got a hold of me and go, hey, man, out of all the people, you had some drive. You were really strong and stuff. I think I can kind of help you out. If you're interested, here's my contact number. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, this is early December. So I waited till Christmas came and gone. I waited till New Year's came and gone because I wanted to see how legit this arm wrestling was. So I'm on YouTube watching stuff, right? Like I said, Alan Fisher was the first guy I saw as far as arm wrestling the sport is. But then I started seeing all these other guys. And the one person that really inspired me, really, his style was Cobra Rhodes. I'm like, oh, this is badass, After that was dead, I called the guy back. Dude, you remember me? Oh, yeah. You're the brother after Harley Davidson. I'm like, yeah. I want to do this now. He goes, okay, well, here's my address. You can come on down when you want to. Now, I'm like 236 now. I was like, just under 198 back then. This is at this point, like late January 2011, right? So I go to this place, and I'm thinking, well, tell me the tricks you got. He goes, there's no trick. This is all technique. I'm like, what do you mean? Manipulate my hand and, like, there's no way you can beat me. I'm bigger than you. He goes, you're bigger than me. You're stronger than me, but I can beat you. I'm like, what kind of voodoo are you putting on me right now? I'm like, what are we doing over here? So actually, he showed me some stuff. I'm like, I'll be damned. And then next thing you know, a group of Nano Cruz came into the fold, and then another guy came in the fold. We built our team. We were Twisted Wrist and in the Pacific Northwest, and we're still going. Some of the members are not around no more. They all kind of got out of it and did some other stuff. But I've been rocking and rolling ever since.
Nano, right? Is that his name?
Yeah. No.
What happened to him? I know he was doing some really high quality videos of events and stuff, and he was a high level arm wrestler when I first got into the sport. And then he kind of branched off. Why did he get out of the sport?
He got a car wreck, and he hasn't been the same since.
Okay.
So I mean, he can still pull and walk. He has pulled before, but he's not the same caliber.
I got you.
And I just need to honestly, if I'm being honest, I need to kick him in his ass and get him back into it. But he got his Puller TV film going on now. He's doing good stuff. It's
okay, good.
Again, work, try to bounce that thing out, so.
Yeah, he does very high quality videos and stuff in the Puller magazine. Is that what he had too?
He changed it. Now it's Puller TV.
Puller TV.
Yeah, but you can still Puller magazine. It'll go right to that. But yeah, he changed the name.
It's funny. I just want to go back, not to zigzag, but it just made me realize about when we're talking about how they try to reinvent the wheel of arm wrestling. It's funny, when I first got into the sport, they were trying to reinvent the training methods and handles and stuff. Remember back in the day, dude? Like every handle that was out, people would think, oh, and I was guilty of it too, right? Like you'd be like, oh yeah, this is going to be the game changer. But and now I realize that, it's not.
I got so many handles, Craig. I'm about ready to sell mine off because when I get back down to the nuts and bolts, because I've been since I've had all this time off this year, and then kind of going, okay, I got to build myself back up and get ready for this tournament. I like to look back at the old school, like, damn, I mean, Cobra Rose was whooping ass and he didn't lift weights.
No.
I mean, John Brzezinski was kicking ass. He worked out here and there, but it wasn't like he was in the gym 4 or 5 times a week, clanging and banging with the weights. He wasn't doing that. So I'm thinking I need to go back to what got me to the dance, and it was table time. Now it sucks now because of table time I don't get as much as I used to, but it was like, okay, so now I'm thinking, okay, remember the bands were a big thing, the resistance bands. I'm going back to that now, that method, because now it's like all these aches and pains because before I got into the sport, I did semi-pro football and rugby, so my body's taking a beating over the years. I got in the sport at 35 years old. I'm 48 now. So my body has taken a lot, So I'm at bench pressing. The highest I ever got was 305, but I can't put that weight up no more because then I got shoulder issues. So why have a bench press if I can't do it no more? Sold it, right? Pulley system, that came with the apparatus, sold it, So now I got my table. I got some 4 Olympic plates, the 45ers. I got a loading pin. I got a bunch of standard weights. I got some dumbbells, and I got like a hammer. That's all I need. I got I can do a pull-up split on my pull-up thing, dips, knee raises. I got to go back to the basics, man. I think spending all this money on handles and stuff, I'm thinking, all right, is it really helping me? It's just sometimes I got to take a step back, survey the situation and go, you know what? That does work. This doesn't work. Throw it away, sell it, whatever. You know what I mean? So.
No, man, it's crazy because I was the same way. Like I always thought I needed this handle, and now I usually use like 3 or 4 different apparatuses, and they're basically straps and stuff or karate belts, like and I've learned that I feel like when you're training for arm wrestling, you have to get into the position of arm wrestling and utilize the connections. And I'll tell you, Brad Grundy, I watched his YouTube. He posts some videos. He's not real like fluent with all the videos, but a couple of them, putting them together, and it just made so much sense to me. And then I've been like learning the connections with the back pressure and stuff now with the elbow forward and pushing up. Like,
yeah.
And it's really incredible when you do the techniques that you would pull on the table in training. And like I used to do pronation like this, my palm down and all the way up now. And it's now I'm here. And then it's here.
Right.
Because that's arm wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm never here. If I'm here and I'm pronating, I'm not ever pronating. I'm usually screwed at that point and I'm getting smashed. So I had this philosophy because I came from bodybuilding that range of motion was important, but it's really for arm wrestling. I feel like because I just know myself, I've been doing this for the last 6 weeks or so, and I still fuck up and make mistakes with some of the techniques and stuff. But I post videos, so I look at them and then I see what I did wrong and then I fix it. But the thing about it is I feel like I'm getting so much tighter and connected and stronger with those exercises. So, it's beneficial for sure. And like you said, now you can just focus on what you need to work on, and just, have that fluidness of training for arm wrestling. You know what I mean? So,
well, I find myself looking at the old school, like the early to mid 80s, right? The AWI World Championships. When you see guys like Cleve Dean, Johnny Walker, Mo Baker, Bobby Hopkins Sr., those guys like that. And I'm looking going, I guarantee you they was whooping ass winning world titles without these handles they got. They was doing it then.
Yes.
I
know what Bobby Hopkins was doing because Chris Rusakis, I train with him every once in a while. He was his main training partner, and he would just load up bands and hold like his whole body and pull. And he did bench press and lift, but he was a football player and a wrestler, and he had that background, and he was just jacked out of his mind, right? Like that guy. I got to see him working out at World's Gym in Vero Beach in like the early 2000s. With this guy, he was a pastor. His name was Curtis. I forget his last name, but he would bench press like 700 pounds. But Bobby, I'd never seen a guy with such a big neck and shoulders and arms. Like he was just so scary looking. Like
when you're an offensive lineman, you got to have that.
Yeah, dude. Dude, it was crazy. And I was bodybuilding back then. I didn't even know really much about arm wrestling, in Florida. And I didn't even know he was a world champion arm wrestler. You know what I mean? He was just a super nice guy. And we're talking about, I go, how did you get your arms so big? Like training a heart. And he just really said that, from heavy curls and doing hammer curls and stuff and, arm wrestling. So I was like, oh, interesting. But
all those Ed Arnold, Ray Closer. I mean, what's his name? California Ray. God, I forgot his name, but first ever on Wild World Sports. You look at them people, man, they were getting it done. Like, man, I'm sitting up here going, wow, Gary Goodrich. He wasn't using handles. Cobra wasn't using handles. And they was whooping everyone's ass, So, it goes to show you that if I can go back in time and go pick their brain, like, dude, like what'd you do to, get so good? It was, hey, it wasn't handles. It wasn't the straps. It was just, hey, this is what I did. But it worked for them. May not work for me or you or anybody else, but it worked for them. And so I'm thinking, I don't need to buy 10,000 different handles. Some are like in the shape of a hand, others in a ball or whatever. I mean, yeah, I drank the Kool-Aid and bought so much shit myself, but I come to find out I don't use them as much anymore. So
luckily I had the radio show at the time and everybody was just throwing me their handles, the Country Crushes, all those. Yeah. The Gully Grip was my first handle. I used it the other night and I thought of Jason Gully. I was like, I remember when I got this, I thought, oh, this is going to be the game changer. Because coming from bodybuilding, my hand was so weak, dude. My fingers, everything was so weak. And so I thought, oh, this is the game changer. Because I drank the Kool-Aid too, like I always do, because I'm an excessive compulsive type of person. So when you got into the sport originally, did you have these aspects and aspirations to be like a world champion, to be like really good, like to be the Johnny Walker, the Cobra Rose, like the new version, the Chocolate Thunder, were you going to be like one of those elite guys? Was that your goal originally?
Well, first of all, I kind of, it's not a sport where, let's see here. How can I say this? My family, my side of the family, would be like, brothers arm wrestle? I'm like, yeah, they do. I'm showing them videos and stuff, and I'm thinking, if they can do it, I can do it. But I know I had a long walk to get to that point. And if I'm going to put all this time and energy, and at this point, my kids were young, so I was able to kind of go to this tournament, that tournament. And as they got older and they got into sports, I kind of scaled back on my tournament stuff. But I figure, I'm like, man, I want to do that. Then all of a sudden you start doing some history stuff and, you start meeting these world champions. Oh, yeah, I got to come to my house. I'll show you my gold medal. And I'm thinking, I'm a sucker for trophies. I don't know if you can widen the screen, but back here, I got freaking, all kind of trophies back there. I got a box full of medals, which at some point I might just give away. But
guess I screwed it up.
With over 8 million broadcasts,
I thought we were about
and over
to get.
6
I know. I'm
million
like,
viewers
I haven't,
each month,
like I told you earlier, this is the
Restream
first
is
time
the
I use
number
this
one tool
program,
to
so
increase
I'm
your
like,
live audience organically.
I'm screwing everything
Restream
up.
enables you to create, analyze.
I thought we had a
Let
guest
me get
going
rid of
on.
this
Like,
guy. Let me get rid of this guy. Sorry, guys.
But yeah, I mean, I still have aspirations of being a world champion because there were times when I felt like I couldn't have a say in certain conversations because I wasn't at the time. I wasn't a state champion. I am now, 14 times over, but I was not a world champion or a national champion. I still want to attain that. But for me to do that, I got to sacrifice all these other events and go to the one that gets me there. So nationals, I only been there twice, but the last one I went to, you know, I took a third, made the podium in the master's class, 220 left hand. IFA Worlds in Florida, you know, second in masters, you know. I understand it was 70-30 Americans to whatever country happened to make the trip. Off of COVID, I get that now. But yeah, I took second. Masters left, 231 class. So I'm like, hey, you know, it was cool. But now I really, when it's all said and done, because I can't do this forever. I guess you could, but I want to sit back and go, hey, I was a world champion, or hey, I was a national champion. I'm still chasing that. So it's coming one of these days. So
do you feel like arm wrestling kind of gives you something to train for, keep you healthy, you know, focused on like, you know, just putting in some investment in yourself?
I think it keeps me out of trouble. I mean, I could be one of those other fathers where, you know, I'm going to go have a few beers, go play pool or whatever, or just whatever. But I think it keeps me grounded. And, you know, and this sport has granted me some situations where I got to travel I didn't think I'd go to. You know, I had no aspirations to go to Canada, went there for a tournament, went to compete in Arm Wars in, you know, Manchester, England. I didn't think I'd ever go there. You know, not to mention some of the states here. I mean, I love being the fact that I was able to go to Kansas City and Texas and Florida and Ohio, Arizona. I mean, the list goes on. And by doing something like that, it's cool. Here's funny with my wife. It's like, hey, going to this tournament. Where's it at? And don't take offense to it, people. Oh, it's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Go have fun, you know. But we're talking Arizona or Las Vegas. She's like, all right, when we going? So it's cool. You know, it's cool from that standpoint.
It's funny. I told my wife last week, I said, I'm going to Puerto Rico for an arm wrestling tournament in the end of August. And she's like, I'm going to Puerto Rico. You're not going to Puerto Rico. Like, she's always wanted to go to Puerto Rico. So I'm like, okay, no problem. But it's funny. But if I said, hey, I'm going to Tulsa or, you know, Ohio or something, like, you know, that's not that's not exciting, I guess.
Well, it's more of, okay, babe, have fun. Call me when you land. That, and like I said, I mean, my wife supports me from afar. She may not go to every tournament, but, you know, she's like, oh, go, Jody, that kind of stuff. But she's not like the diehard yell like Jody Larrett. She's not like that. She's just kind of, I'm in the background. If you need me, I'm here for you. I support you, that kind of stuff. But then, like, it changes because when I'm with her, she comes with me on these trips. Then it's like, when we're done, you know, what's up? You know, hey, how you doing? Good to see you, man. Hey, give me a call, whatever. I'll meet and greet for a little bit, maybe have a little, you know, after pull, and then we out. Go back to the hotel, shower up. Let's go out to get something to eat. Let's go hang out or just have a nightcap somewhere. Then it's our time. If she doesn't go, then I'm fucking at the arm wrestling table at the end of the event all goddamn night. Let's go. Have me a couple burgers, whatever, and a few beers. Let's exchange, you know, training methods. Let's pick each other's brain a little bit. Let's go ahead and after pull and stuff, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, that's what I love about this sport because you got lifelong friends. You can call it a fraternity, if you will, you know?
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. How long have you and your wife been married?
Oh, hell, it's going on, what, 23 years this September?
How did you guys meet?
Oh, shit. We met at a Holiday Inn in 1999. Right?
Nice.
So I was working at a warehouse at the time in Portland, right?
Okay.
While I was living in Portland, the warehouse was right outside Portland. And she was a travel agent. So it was a Friday night. My buddy and I, a coworker, hey, man, it's been a long week. Let's go ahead and let our hair down. Well, not my hair, but let's let our hair down, right? So we go to this place in Portland by the airport, you know. And if you know Portland, Portland's here, Vancouver, Washington's here, and it's the Columbia River, so it divides the 2 states. So it's like a hop, skip, and a jump. So we go there at Holiday Inn. They got this this little bar, dance club type scene inside, you know. So we go there and stuff. And at the time, my wife was a redhead. Like, she dyed her hair red, you know, had this Princess Leia thing going on. I'm thinking, oh, sweet, you know. She had the strawberry sunset color hair. I'm thinking, I was loving it. I'm thinking, okay, you know, she was eyeing me and I was eyeing her. So I was like, hey, you want to dance? And she was like, no, I don't dance. But that was her, you're like, you know, because she was with her roommate. And they all kind of watch each other's back. No big deal. Well, this one dude, we call him 80s John. Because, you know, it didn't matter what song you played, he was techno. You could play a slow song, he was still techno. I'm like, oh wow. So he goes, hey, you want to dance? And she was like, no, I don't dance. But he kept going and kept going. You know, then she looks at me and I'm laughing. I got my drink. I'm like, I'm laughing now because you turned me down and now you look at me and want me to save you. All right, good luck with that. You know, I'm like, good luck with that. But then I was like, okay, I gotta stop being a jerk. So I go over there, I'm like, hey, what's going on? And dude was like, oh, bro, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to mess with your girl. I'm so sorry. I was like, no, it's all right, no big deal. So now he goes over techno against someone else, whatever. And so now I'm sitting down. She goes, thank you. I was like, oh, no big deal. But I thought you didn't dance, you know. Funny how you want me to come save. She goes, that's just my way of saying no because I don't know you yet, but you seem like a nice guy. Do you want to dance? I'm like, you sure? Long story short, we danced. It was cool. We exchanged numbers. Met again, same place. The next night, which was Saturday night. Ever since then, we've been together. So
that's incredible. And how you've been married? You got married right away, or how long did you guys date for?
We dated for what, 2 years and got married 10 days before 9/11.
Oh, nice. So you have June 22nd. It's a very important date for you. It's going to be the LLD Foundation tournament. That's in honor of your son that passed. And I wanted to kind of just segue into that a little bit about like how you've able to face that adversity. You know, everybody that's a parent out there, it's, you know, it's one of those things that they really, it's I know in my life, it's my biggest fear, you know. And I met a few guys that have been in the same situation, you know, you've been in and dealt with, and it's just crazy to me, you know. And I just was wondering, like, you know, how has that been for you to like to cope with that, and where you're at now, and this foundation, and how important it is for you and your family?
Well, first of all, let me start by saying this. No parent should ever go through or experience what my wife and I have done. You know, we were growing up where you bury your folks don't bury you, if that makes sense, right?
Yes.
So, you know, just a quick story, you know, I'm pretty sure a lot of people heard it now. And which is funny, it's weird. It's been 4 years now, right? So July 4th, 2020, my son was at a friend's house and they were hanging out, you know, ride ATVs, and he wanted to stay longer. And we're like, well, no, we got to go, you know, to grandma's house, you know, my mother-in-law, have dinner, you know, do some fireworks after, that kind of stuff. It was in the afternoon. So my wife says, oh, you can stay till 2 o'clock. No big deal. Okay. Got off the phone. Probably 10 minutes later, we get a call. And the kid whose property it was, his dad called in panic, got a hold of our older son, Kendall. Panic, you know, something happened to Donovan. They're calling their lifeline. We're like, what the fuck? Like, wait, what? It was kind of like, wait, what'd you just say? So fuck it. We all got in the car, drove up to the hospital and stuff. And we're like going, okay. We're trying to digest what was said on the phone. Okay. Oh, here comes the, you know, the helicopter stuff dropping on something. Like, okay, well, he's going to be okay. You know, he's going to be okay. And what happened was, and now my wife goes to all these high schools now preaching about how important seatbelts is, right? So apparently what happened, and the friends he was with were actually going through counseling because they actually witnessed this whole thing. So, you know, they've gone through a lot. So what happened, he tried to, you know, when you're a kid and you're in front of adults, you play by the rules. But as soon as you get out of eyesight, you kind of cowboy up or do whatever. I think he was trying to do a Tokyo drift or whatever and flipped it. And it landed on him and crushed his skull. So we're in ICU for like 4 days, and because of severity, you know, he had like I think 5% chance of making it. But if he did, he was going to be a vegetable the rest of his life. That sucks. Nobody wants to deal with that. I'm saying, okay, well, fuck it. He'll make it. He'll make it. I'm holding out hope, right? As any parent would. He'll make it. I don't give a fuck what the doctors are saying. You don't know. My son's a fighter. We're Williams, right? He's a fighter. But then when the reality kind of kicked in, and so my wife and I had to start making decisions like, hey, what are we doing now? Because, you know, I don't want him to suffer where, you know, he's a vegetable. That's no one should ever go through that. I'm like, yeah, you don't want to be that parent that kind of makes that decision to pull the plug. You don't want to be that person. But, you know, after brainstorming, it says, she goes, hey, we can donate his organs. I mean, he's 14 years old. So, man, it's probably the freshest organs there is, you know. We're talking about lungs, kidneys, liver, heart, pancreas, whatever. We can donate that to somebody who needs it, right? Okay, let's make the decision. So we told the nurse about what we decided to come up with. So, okay, we'll get the paperwork rolling and stuff. So, I mean, that was hard. And then that walk down the hall into the surgery room, that was crushing. It was like, oh my God, you know, you don't want to live through that. But it was like, man. So we got done with that. And then we went to one of the high schools because we got word that all the communities said, hey, we're all meeting there. And they all got, you know, want to hear our story. Well, hey, we're here to support Donovan and stuff. And it was cool because he was an 8th grader going into his freshman year. So you got to realize that he'll never go to high school. He'll never, you know, experience prom, getting married. We'll never experience being grandparents to his, you know, kids like that. So it really sinks in. But the whole town supported us and stuff, and it was cool. So what gave birth out of that was the LED Foundation. And so what that was is that it gives youth a chance to compete in sports that they can't afford because parents are tight on budget, on money. We were those parents. We were, because he did football, he did travel basketball, and he played basketball for the school. So with travel basketball, as you know, with travel sports, that stuff is spending. So there were times where we sacrificed, all right, let's call and say, hey, we're going to be late on this bill to make sure we paid for him to go play in this tournament over here that costs $250 for the weekend, you know? So we were those parents. So now it's us paying it forward. So now we done built, you know, up to where it's like, now we're helping this kid out with equipment for baseball. We're helping this young girl out for gymnastics. And the list goes on and on. So now we're in our 4th year with the LED Foundation. And now all proceeds, they go right back into the foundation. So now we can still continue to help that. Now throughout the year, we got fundraisers. So like back in during the Super Bowl, we did Super Bowl squares. You know, we've done March Madness brackets. That was cool. We do the one thing that's steady throughout the year is the pop can. You know, you take the pop cans to the recycle thing. So we got a blue bag with our barcode, and the profits go back into the foundation. So that way we can still keep the foundation, keep it rolling and stuff. We do other stuff in the fall. So we had a basketball camp last summer. So we still try to find different ways to keep the thing rolling. It's not easy, but we keep it going. So.
Yeah, man, that's just it's crazy to go through that. I can't even imagine. But you know, for you, like dealing with that, I mean, how did you I mean, you never come to grips with it. I mean, but how did you deal with it at first? Like, how did you keep yourself busy? Did you like what was the first couple like months like when, you know, all this is kind of said and done and you and your wife are kind of by yourselves? I mean, you know, a lot of times people don't understand like these situations that happen are really stressful on a marriage. And you know, I love the fact that you guys are, you know, happy and together and you know, doing great, you know, by what you tell me and what, you know, I see on Facebook and stuff. I know you guys don't share a lot of that, but you know, just for people out there that go through adversity, I mean, this is the toughest thing a man could ever go through, or a woman, you know, a family. For you, like, what was the first few months like for you to keep kind of pushing through, man? Like, what was your motivation to and also you talked about the organ donating. Did any of his organs go to anybody, and did you get to meet any of these people as well?
Well, remember, it's just 2020, so COVID was going on. When you deal with something like that, a lot of it's so confidential. You know what I mean? There was a lady in Texas that got one of his kidneys because she was going through dialysis. So she got a hold of us. That was awesome. And then a young kid up in Washington got his heart. We haven't heard from the rest yet. Well, one lady that got his pancreas, it didn't take well, so she didn't end up making it. But it's always like, oh, I want to meet these people, but what if they don't want to meet us, right? So you got to take consideration their feelings. But in my line of work, I work with juveniles in a detention center. We're talking kids that was his age, and there were times I got to work, I was like, you know what, I can't do it. Call my boss, I'm like, I can't make it today. Nah, but dude, just come back when you're ready. And at the time, the job I had, they were like, hey, I will donate my vacation time to give to you because you need time to process all this. My wife took like a month and a half off, and she works for the state. So it's kind of like certain things would trigger her, like the fall. I remember even like back to school commercials would trigger her, because that would be the time. Let's go get some school clothes. Oh wait, yeah, we can't do that no more. It was really hard because the fact that could have easily been my way out and say, fuck this. I don't want to do arm wrestling no more. I don't want to do shit no more. I could have went to a dark place and just said, I'm going to just go get hammered every night because I'm numb. I want something to ease this pain. I could have easily went that route. But you got to remember, we have 2 other kids to think about. They're relying on us. We got to be their rock. So it could have been easily, I said, fuck it. It could have been like, our marriage could have went this way. But when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, this is when you test yourself, you test your marriage, because you got to go back to the vows for better or worse. Well, guess what? This is worse. I'm there for you. She's there for me. There were times I just crumbled under pressure. I just broke down, and she was right there just by having her hand on my back saying, it's okay. We'll get through this. That made me feel better. Then all of a sudden she'll have a moment, I drive and she's, crying. I'm like, babe, you okay? I'm like outside the yard working, drop my shovel, run in there, take my gloves off. Babe, you all right? Give her a hug, and, I'm caressing her. I'm like, it's going to be okay. We'll get through this. I think when you hear that from your significant other, you kind of feel like, you know what? It is going to be okay. Because if you can get through this, you can get through anything. That's just my, I could be wrong, but, if you can get through this tragedy, you can get through anything. But that's a tragedy no parent should ever have the opportunity to deal with. That's just unfortunate. But I think it's made us stronger, and now it's about, what? It taught us that, and you got to remember, Donovan was 14 years old. Think about that. 14 years old, life is done. So you take that and go, you know what? Life is too short. So now it's like when we go to these places we take his hoodie with his name on the back from basketball, we take a picture with it. So you may see it on my Facebook. We went to DC. Here's a picture of his hoodie. Went to Disneyland, Disney World. Here's a picture of his hoodie because he likes Star Wars. Went to Disney World and Star Wars family with the picture of the hoodie and stuff. So when you do that kind of stuff, hey, it's there. I went to Arm Wars in Manchester, England, and I was on the beach, took his hoodie, took a picture of the background with all the big giant Ferris wheel on the beach in Manchester, England. Here's a picture, with his hoodie and stuff. So, I mean, that kind of stuff, it teaches us that life is too short, man. Let's go have fun. And that's what it's all come down to, No,
you're right, man. It's just emotional just listening to you explain this, like having kids. And, it's just, I'm always intrigued by people that go through adversity like this. For me, that would be the hardest thing to ever go through. And I don't know, it's just inspirational. I think people need to know that, because in this world of first world problems, brother, I mean, we have people that, I had to talk to myself last night because I was tired after working 10 hours and I didn't want to train. And I thought to myself, what a bitch I'm being, so, and I work with a guy that his son passed, he had cancer and, was young too, like 20, but, it's just one of those things. I'm always just interested in people's mindsets and how passionate you are with your family. And how about your kids? Your kids, have they been able to find some peace and through this journey?
They've gone to counseling. They that's the first thing we want to get them into counseling. Donovan's friends who were in the ATV, they went to counseling because I mean, like they actually saw what happened and witnessed, and I can only imagine what they go. We didn't see it; they saw it. They saw it firsthand. So that's something they will never gather memory. But there's also you look at the brighter side, right? So my daughter's graduation, Long Beach. She went and got her bachelor's at North Carolina A&T, right? Sports psychology.
Congratulations!
Thank you. Long Beach State and got her master's in kinesiology. So one of her gifts that we got her was a locket necklace. When you open it, there's a picture of her grandmother and a picture of Donovan. So it's like it was engraved, and that was like that kind of floored her, like, yeah, it was cool. 1 year for Christmas, we took all of Donovan's t-shirts, like like the front with the wording, and made quilts for the kids.
That's incredible.
So they were his shirts, but we made quilts. So, my daughter got one, my other son got one, and that was a tearjerker moment. I'm thinking, oh man, it's kind of like it was quiet, for the first 10 minutes, it was just quiet, tears, then we started thinking, remember Donovan would have did this and he would have done that. And then a couple laughs came out, it's cool. You have those moments, but again, you try to find the positives in that. Oh, remember Donovan would have done this, and now you're cracking up and stuff. And, it goes to show you that life is too short. So anybody out there that got kids, tell them you love them, because you just never know, right? You always tell them that you love them no matter what, whether it being, ragamuffins or whatever the case may be, you always tell them that. I know, and usually when you're a teenager, you at an age where, yeah, okay, mom, okay, dad, yeah. And it's cool now because my other son, we went, last year we went to March Madness and saw some he's a basketball fan. Went and did that. We're Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Went to Seattle New Year's Eve and saw the Seahawks and Steelers. It's all about that. Hanging out with my daughter in Southern California after her graduation. It's all about that. We went to San Diego for the World Series of Arm Wrestling Finals. Our adult kids. Check this out, Craig. You want to see something that's cool? When your kids are now adults, and my wife scheduled a opportunity to go to a cigar bar. So with that came was a free drink. They're adults now. They're over 21. You get a drink now because my son is 22. My daughter's 26. So we're down there in a cigar bar. You get a free cigar. They teach you how to roll it. You roll your own cigar. You get a free drink, and we're just hanging out, kicking it. And so my son and daughter are at one table in a chair, just puffing away, sit there talking. I'm like, babe, look at that. We took a picture and stuff. It's like, this is what it's all about here. Like we're hanging out, watching our kids who are adults now, just chilling, having a good time. And those are the moments you can't, don't take for granted. So it's all about having fun now, and it's cool that way. But yeah, I'm glad we got this foundation rolling. It wasn't easy to start. We're not big enough to where we can just start doling out, thousands of bucks for this, that, and the other. But it's still kind of small, but we're doing what we can within the community, and a lot of people know us and stuff. And so we had the bracelet, this is the one I got. Of course, it says "Long Live Donald." On the other side, he had a saying that said, I don't know if y'all can see that. It said, can y'all see that? It says, "Failure is not final." So,
like it.
In one of his books, we kind of went through his room. In one of his books, he had a story. He's like, yeah, failure is not final. I think he was struggling in one of his classes. He had a reflection. He's like, well, you know what? I'm struggling, but you know what? It ain't done. I can overcome this. For a while, we kept his bedroom the way it was. Nobody was allowed in there. Nobody. So like you'll have one tennis shoe like this and one turned on its side, left it like that. It ain't being we almost put like yellow tape. No one's allowed in their room. So for a while it did that. And then over time we kind of like, should we open the room? That kind of stuff.
Would you go in there? Would you ever go in there? Would you ever go in there yourself and like just think about things? Or did
I
you
would
just
go in there and
you
like I would go in there and lay down and stare at the ceiling. And it was weird because you kind of felt him there, because if you go in his bedroom, all his basketball jerseys were like, stapled to the wall. Well, you can see, so they retired his football jersey right here at High Desert Middle School. So if y'all see that? Yeah, so they framed his jersey. That 8th grade year, he got Defensive Player of the Year. So I was like, oh, that was pretty cool. So at his funeral, the whole team presented us with that. That was cool. here's the good part. So this is going to be another tearjerker. So, yeah, right. I know for a fact it's going to come down Saturday, because Saturday would have been his senior graduation day, right? So the senior class decided to purchase a cap and gown for him, and they're going to leave a seat empty purposely for him. So we got invited to go. So we're gonna go down there. You know, that's gonna be that's gonna be rough. You know, but it's I think it's their way of putting a bow tie on the whole thing, because you know, in college, or not the college, but in high school, everybody kind of go their separate ways.
Yeah.
So his senior class, you know, hey, he would have been with us. So to honor him, we're gonna purchase a cap and gown, have his seat there. They're gonna present it to us, and so it's gonna be tearjerker. So
yeah. Well, that's great that they're doing that, though. That's that's really great. Yeah, man. It's crazy. I want to know, how did you keep yourself out of going down those dark places, like not getting indulged with drugs or alcohol? What kept you focused on your family?
Because that's probably the most selfish thing you can do, right? In the grand scheme of things, when you say F it, I'm numb, I needed to have this pain stop, I'd rather go do this and do that. That's probably one of the most selfish things you can do, right? Now you got your kids depending on you. You got your wife depending on you. Why would I want to sit there and they haven't digested that? What good is it for me to sit there and put myself in a situation? And then I got to have them have that on their shoulders also, right? But again, I think, you know, with this happening, it kept our marriage stronger, because, you know, anybody could have just said, fuck it, I'm out, you know, tap out, we're done. I can't do this anymore. It was so easy to do that, but to have the wherewithal to go, you know what, our bond is stronger than that. Our love is stronger than that. Yes, this is probably one of the most crushing things you can deal with. But again, it goes back to the vows, you know, for better or worse, this is the worst. If we can overcome this, we can overcome anything. And that's just how, you know, we looked at it, you know. There are still days where, you know, you see a commercial and go, ha! Donovan would have cracked up at that, or, you know, Donovan would have did this, he would have did that. And so you laugh at it now. But certain things, you know, I still get dreams every now and then. And it's weird, because when you start putting two and two together in a dream, you wake up and go, well, I'm trying to get back to that dream, but you can't. But I don't know, maybe that's his way of saying, hey, I'm here, I'm doing good, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's one of those things. But the tournament, I love doing. I'm at a point now where I don't want to compete anymore. I'd rather just, you know, be a referee and help make sure the tournament runs flow as a director and stuff. Not so much compete anymore. But everywhere I go, I got this bad boy on. It may be blue and orange, or this one's orange and blue. The green one I wear in April, because April is the month of National Organ Donor Month. So I always wear the green bracelet every April. Other than that, it's either an orange one or a blue one. So
what advice would you give someone that's going through something like this, some kind of adversity where, you know, they want to give up on life? What do you tell someone like that?
I would tell them, I could say, hey, I know what you're feeling. You know how some people say, I know what you're going through. No, you don't know what we're going through. Exactly. But I can actually sit there and say that with a straight. There's arm wrestlers I'm friends with out there that I keep in contact with, because they've gone through the same thing I've gone through. And so I keep that, you know, always open. Hey, I'm checking on you. You okay? That's what we do amongst our, you know, it's a tight-knit circle. I don't want to put them on blast like that, but it's a tight-knit circle where they've had their son or daughter pass away. It's like, hey, I'm looking out for you. But to answer your question, it's more like, hey, you know what? You got so many people depending on you. By you just saying, hey, I'm checking out, now you're putting that much more pressure and stress on them, right? So that, you know, it's like, hey, if you need somebody to talk to, hey, I'm right here. I'm open ears. We can sit there and have a dialogue, whatever, you know. It's not going to be easy, but it does get better. And I know it sucks to say this. I mean, life does go on. Life doesn't just stop because that happened. His life might have stopped, but our life didn't stop. Let's go ahead and make the most of it in honor of him. Boom. There you go.
Yeah, and that's a great way of looking at it, to honor him in his memory by helping others, you know, by giving them advice. And like you said, like when you meet someone else that has gone through the same thing you've gone through, then you automatically have that brotherhood, that connection. It's just, just because there's nobody else out there that knows how you guys feel. And, you said about your wife will talk and go. Does she go to schools and talk about the importance of seatbelts and stuff? Is that what she does periodically?
She'll go to one of the high schools here, a couple of them, and then it kind of tangles in with driver's ed, how important seatbelts are. Basically in the grand scheme of things, it's like, hey, you're not too cool for school to wear a seatbelt. And I don't care if you're going around the corner or whatever, because you just never know, right? So, and Donovan was one of those. He was one of those wild ones where like, I'm gonna do what I want because I'm the man. I mean, in his own way, that's who he was. He was he was hellfire and brimstone. That was our boy. But unfortunately, that kind of lifestyle and that it kind of cost him. So, but yeah, I mean, it's boom, seatbelt all the time. I don't give a goddamn if you're going down the street. Put the sumbitch on because you never know. You know what I mean?
No, for sure, man. Head injuries, like that's the worst. And you want to protect your brain. I'm always an advocate, just like Drew here saying about seatbelts and helmets, man. It's really important. And like you said, it's, kids think, because when I was young and we were young, we thought, we're too cool for that, and we're like,
well, hell, before that though, Craig, we didn't have to worry. It wasn't required.
That's true. That's true. That is true. Either we're seatbelts. We just sat in the car laying down in the front, like it's like.
Right. I mean, just like it wasn't required. I mean, if you want to wear one, cool, but you didn't have to. And now that you have to, and we make it up, hey, let's put that seatbelt on. Where we going? But see, now you got cars that have this dinging now because some of the seatbelts not on.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't have that kind of car that, you know what I mean? So it's one of those deals. But yeah, I sit there and every day, and I'll walk by his room, take a peek in there, and they made like one of my friends made like because I was a wrestling fan, my whole family was. And made a championship belt. They had a custom made with him on there, his face on there.
That's awesome.
It was cool, that's one of the things I always cherish. But yeah, I'm always, he's with me all the time, and it was cool because we all made appointments to get tattoos, but it had their own little spin on it, So my son got like a basketball with his name on there. My daughter got one with his actual signature on there, so that was cool.
That is cool.
My wife got like a branch with like 3 birds. The 2 birds on the branch is our son and daughter, and the one flying to heaven is Donovan. So she has that on her arm. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
The one lady, I thought that was kind of, I never heard this before, Craig. I didn't know that was a thing. But when we're at the tattoo parlor, because we went as a family, like mother-in-law, niece, nephew, sister-in-law. I mean, we walked in there, and she was like, "Oh, damn, this might be an all-day thing." So. Nothing, not like a sleeve. So it was all their thing, but hey, this is what we're doing as a group. So I didn't realize this, but she said, if you want, and I thought this was kind of creepy. She goes, I can do it. I can implement his ashes in your tattoo. That way he's really, I'm thinking, I don't know about that, because his ashes, I'm thinking, okay, well, how would that take if I got in the shower? How would that take if I got in the pool? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know how that was going to work. So I just declined that. But that is an option. I never heard of that before, but that is a thing. So, but yeah. So, I mean, if you go into our living room, there's a big old giant portrait of him. It's a bunch of pictures. As you walk by, it makes a bigger picture.
Okay.
So there's that. There's a big old giant glass thing of with his jersey number 57, name on the back. There's that. We got his handprint, on a book, in clay, that kind of thing. And of course, we have his urn there. And there's a portrait that a good friend of mine in Utah, Halo. You all know Halo?
Yes.
Utah, yeah. Well, she
of course.
Hand penciled a portrait of him.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I fucking broke down when I saw that stuff, and
he's incredible.
It was cool. And we went to go visit her last September. So, but yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff is it just hits home to where it's like, you know what, all this other dumb shit going on. It don't matter. It's not that serious to me.
Yeah. It's
all about family. So, yeah, I guess going back to what we talked about earlier, why, Joe, you only been to one event this year? Yeah, I have. Like I said, I mean, there's things that are more important in arm wrestling. And, whether it be getting a new job, building up more PTO, whether it be like, you know what, I'm not going to this tournament because I'm going to my daughter's graduation. It only comes around once every lifetime, So sometimes, it goes back to what my wife told me, and which was true. You can't go to every tournament. You would like to, but you just can't go. And I understand that. You know, I get that now. It's like, you know what? Okay, so I don't go to like 7 tournaments a year. It happens. You know, I may go to 3 this year, for all I know. But at the end of the day, it's all about, hey, what are we going to do for this year's vacation? That's what we're doing now. So, you know, that's what it comes down to.
I don't want to change the subject so I don't cry anymore here.
I get it, man. I get it.
No, I'm just joking. But I wanted to branch off a little bit about your job. I find it very intriguing. How did you get involved in working at DJJ? What got you there? Because I know you had like, you know, you're working in warehouses and stuff. Was that something that you wanted to do?
Well, come out of high school, there was 2 things I wanted to do. And I knew the pipe dream was go to the NFL. I did football, right? Pipe dream, fine, whatever. Let's get, my grandfather's like, all right, let's get real here. Like, what do you want to do? I'm like, okay. So I said, I either want to do be a sportscaster or I want to work with troubled youth. So I'm thinking, okay, sportscaster, major would be in communications, you know, troubled youth, major would be in, you know, juveniles. I'm like, all right, cool. Criminal justice. Got it. Let's go there. Because I think nowadays, especially now with all the mental health going on, that they need more mentors. So got into that, and then we ended up moving to Bend, Oregon. It's like, okay, I never had a chance to really get into that. Okay, fine. I'll just do what I know. Warehouse work. Cool. Then I was working at that plant where I met that guy that got me into arm wrestling. Well, they shut down. And so I remember it was 2013, and they shut down in April. They made the announcement that by August, we're done. So people were like, well, F it. If you're going to be done, there's no point in me staying here. Here's the thing. They say, if you guys stay till the very, very end, then you'll get your, not pension, but what is that? The hell they call that? It's not your pension, but
retirement, like a.
It's not. It's called something. I can't remember what it was.
I got you.
But you'll get all that, and we'll go ahead. If you want to go back to school, we'll pay for 2 years of that. I'm like, man, that was my opening goal. Okay, I can go back and do what I want to do this whole time. So, long story short, on that one, April came. I enrolled in school, COCC here in Central Oregon. I go there for 2 years. I meant straight, like summertime, full-time student all the way through. Got my degree, you know, in juvenile corrections. I'm thinking, cool. Hey, I should be getting all kind of phone calls. What's up? You know, I got my degree. What's up? It didn't happen that way. I'm thinking, you mean I went through all this for nothing? They're not calling me back? What the fuck? You know, and it could have been location, anything. So not a bad plan B was to work at the hospital, right? St. Charles. Not a bad, you know, place to be. So I'm there. And I told them, I was like, you know what? I did apply at this job working with juveniles. So if for some reason I get a call and they want to offer me a job, I'm taking it. So they kind of knew that, you know, ahead of time. So it was funny because I actually, once they got a hold of me, I told the hospital on my birthday, hey, I'm putting my 2 weeks in, you know. So I go there. But this one was a nonprofit. It was a program, right? So we deal with at youth risk, right? But we were more hands-off. We're more therapeutic. But you're dealing with all kind of youth within a county. So I was there for 6 years, and it was a shift supervisor. But now I wanted more of a challenge, you know. So now I'm in here, you know, working for the county. So we're in the same building, mind you, but one side was where the program where I was at, and the other side is the actual juvenile detention where, okay, they're wearing, you know, juvenile clothes. You're getting food from the actual jail, which is on the other side of the parking lot, that kind of stuff. And they teach, it's a whole different world because these youngsters, gang bangers. I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. You guys not these Bend, Oregon, give me a fucking break. You are not that guy, right? And I tell these kids, it's like, you have no idea. Half the time I want to punch their mom and dad in the mouth. Like, what the fuck, man? With all this going on, you're so worried about what you got going on. You got your kids running around doing all this dumb shit. We got kids that I'm not mentioning. I know they're juveniles and
no,
I'll just say a few things, but you know, you got kids that come to us that have been beaten, kids that come to us that have been in fights. We, you know, kids that, you know, stab people. Now they're fucking 16-year-old. DA may want to charge them with adult crimes, and now you're sitting up there like, oh, you got attempted murder. Like, this is some real shit, you know? Sex offenders, that's a big thing, you know? And it's like, well, fuck, now we're dealing with kids, and when kids are mean, like when they find out that a kid is a sex offender, they want to jump on him and just whoop his ass for being that. And that's kind of fucked up, but it is what it is, right? Now, it's unfortunate that kid's going to have to register when they become an adult and all that kind of stuff. But we get all kind of trouble kids. And my observation is to make sure they leave here in a better headspace than when they come here. But sometimes, it takes them a couple of times to realize what's going on. And for some kids, they got to hit rock bottom to go, oh, I better get my act together. I'm like, yeah, because guess what? You're locked up, which means, oh, guess what? You're going to miss Mother's Day. You're going to miss your birthday, Christmases, Thanksgiving. Some of the stuff that they take for granted. And when those holidays come here and they're like, oh, shit, I'm eating slop, or, I got a turkey sandwich, where you could be eating some good food at Thanksgiving. Like, hey, you may not get a good Christmas, but their folks can send them something. But of course, we got to look through it, making sure there's no inappropriate stuff there. But it's just unfortunate for these kids. But at least with the youth, they have a chance to do a 180. Whereas with the adults, hey, man, they stuck in their ways. They are who they are. They ain't going to change for nobody. You may reach a couple of them, but for the most part, they are who they are. And like I said before, Craig, when you're dealing with all kind of mental health now, and it's sad because now all this mental health, whether it be somebody who's homeless or just regular people, now it done trickled down to the youth now. That's when we got to take a step back and go, okay, what we got to do to make sure these kids are on the right track. You know what I mean? So that's what I do. Haven't had a chance to take a kid down yet. And I think by me just being me and kind of going and giving this look like, don't fuck with me because I will take you down if I have to. I think by doing that, it's like, okay, I don't want to mess with him. But I think some people get the wrong idea. Oh, you work at the kids' jail, so you beat up kids? It's not what we do. We don't just go haul off whacking kids. What they don't understand is that with us, putting our hands on kids and kind of just putting them down is the last resort. If we could talk to them and talk them down to whatever the fuck they got going on, that's a win for us. Now, granted, your behavior was out of line. You're going to be held accountable for it. Don't get me wrong, because you're not going to be talking to me that way or anybody else or any of my staff like that. But it's better than what the alternative would have been. Take them down, twist or whatever, take them to intake, put them in that kind of stuff. So, there's peaks and valleys, with what I do for a living. So never a dull moment.
Do you think like you see like more violence with the juvies? Like, and the reason why I ask this is like, I did some volunteer at the DJJ here with when I was religious. I did this camp for like a couple years, and we went out there to try to mentor. But I noticed like the kids were more violent, like their mentality, because, at that age, they, like you said, with the sex offenders, which is a normal thing in jail anyway, usually those guys, because they harm children, which, it's just the way it is, you can't hurt children. So, but do you find like those kids, is there a lot of fights in there? Do you feel like, is there a lot of, like more violent type of behavior over the last few years? Have you seen that kind of increasing?
It can, but we kind of like end that when we have a kid come in intake. Look, these are the rules, and this is it. So, and tell me if this makes sense, Craig, because you worked with juveniles before. I tell them straight up, hey, was any of these kids around you when you did your dirt? No. Okay. Were you around those kids when they did their dirt? No. Okay. Don't worry about it. Ain't got nothing to do with you or anybody else. And by the way, you might want to keep your mouth shut, because anything you say, staff hears it. We're mandatory reporters. I think sometimes they forget that.
Yeah.
And we got to report that to your attorney, and your attorney, he or she finds out there's another story to what you told them, then you might have fucked yourself, So we kind of tell them that, hey, keep your mouth shut. You ain't here to gossip. Now, the actual kid jails in Woodburn, Oregon, McLaren, that's like the prison for like juveniles.
Okay.
Okay. If you want to go there, all they do, they've been, serving, all kind of stuff. You want to go there and fucking be a dumbass. They've been there. I mean, you got kids there who are adults because they were serving time when they were juveniles. They're just finishing up their sentence, but by that time they're adults, right? So if you want to go there and run your mouth there, you go right ahead. I think a lot of times too, Craig, is that these youth watch too much fucking TV, man. They watch fucking these movies or TVs. I mean, they're fucking actors for one. They're missing the whole thing, right? They watch the music videos they got out there. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, no, what are we doing? Here, and I'll be breaking kids down, man. I break them down mentally to make them think. I'll give you an example. So I asked this one kid, I was like, so you hate authority, right? Yeah, I hate when people tell me what to do. Okay. That means the cops? Oh, yeah. Fuck them pigs. They would tell me what to do. Teachers, all that. How about staff? Yeah, some staff piss me off. Some staff are cool, but I also like being told what to do. I said, okay, this kid was a gang member. This is how I broke him down and made him think. Check this out. I said, well, that's funny. He goes, what's funny about that? Because you hate taking orders or having somebody tell you what to do from a teacher, adult, a cop, or anything, even staff, but you got no problem doing what the big homie says. You got no problem with that. And guess what? You play like a fool because he's sending you out to do his dirty work. So if you get caught, where are you at? Oh, you're sitting in front of me talking to juvenile while he's on the out still living and loving life. Now who's the fool? And he just sat there and glared at me like that. I'm like, yeah, real talk, bruh. Real talk. And I don't give a goddamn. I'll tell anybody that. You the sucker, man. You sat there. Big homie says that. You get up and run. Anybody else tell you that? The ones who are trying to help you, by the way, you fucking shun them off. Blows my fucking mind. And when I sat there and told him that, he kind of sat there, head went down, went back to his cell, did some hardcore thinking. I said, oh, and by the way, if you keep this behavior up, by the time you get to adults, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not a fortune teller, but I'm gonna tell you this. You keep this up, you will go to jail with the big guys at. And guess what? I'm gonna tell you right now. Are the big homies coming to see you? Are they coming to visit you? Well, no. Yeah, you want to know why? Because they probably got warrants out. Who's going to be there? People you fucking turn your back on, your family.
They're there, yeah.
You're always going to be there. Your homies ain't coming to visit you. Your family will. Think about that before you make a decision.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, man, you really find out who your friends are when you get locked up. And right. I remember when I was locked up, I never had a visit, never a letter. And and I was kind of glad because I'd see guys missing their girlfriends and then, wondering if they're cheating on them. So it was good for me.
Oh, God.
I was able to do that. But like for you, with these kids, do you see a lack of fathers in these kids' lives?
Well, hell, I mean, all you got to do is bring up their name and stuff. They're in the system. It's like, hey, who's your contact person? It's mom, grandma, sister, uncle, brother. Hardly even no dads. I mean, there's some that got both parents, in the household, but more oftentimes than not, I say 85% of the time, it's dad's not in the picture.
Yeah, my wife's a behavior analyst and a teacher now. She does teaching now full time, but she still does therapy. And she was explaining to me that the common denominator for all these people and their problems are they don't have a dad in their lives. And and she sees the because when she does therapy, she sees the kids at a young age. And now in high school, she sees how these kids end up turning out, different kids, of course, but the stage of life now in high school and how, they don't do good in school because some of these kids are experiencing homelessness. It's crazy and they're still trying to go to school and stuff. So, once my wife gets to know where they're from, I mean, if they show up and put some effort into their schoolwork, she gives them A's because they come from a broken home. They don't have, food. I mean, it's really absurd. The society that we live in today where we spend all this money on foreign aid and we can't help the people in our country, but
now keep in mind, Craig, even though my job is to help these kids, I don't mean I trust them. No, sir. No, I don't trust them because they've gotten by life. And the reason why in this position, another reason, there's more than one reason why they're in this position, but I've also noticed that they've been never told no.
Okay.
There are some parents out there who rather be their friend than their parent. Now you spank your kids. I'm calling, CSD.
Oh yeah. They know the system. Kids know the system now.
I'm like, the sign of different, even on their phone calls, and I hear it. I'm like going, you talk to your mama that way? If I haven't even said the first two letters of what I was going to say, whack, and I've had my share of ass whoopings when I was young, but guess what? I turned out okay. And I think that's the problem with America now because we got so soft that the kids are running the asylum. And I sit there and go, we, like Craig, me, everybody, I mean, we're passing the torch to these kids. What the fuck is going on? Like, I worry about that.
Yeah, because you see that example of troubled use, and you must see some really sad stories that it kind of gives you a perspective of where we are at with the society, especially in your area, you know. So
they can't read a clock, Craig. The Roman numerals, they can't read a clock. What times that sound like? Can't you read that? Or we're talking about spelling. Like,
take away a phone and they have to use their brain. It's just,
man,
it's terrible.
like this kid, he was like 16, 17 years old, and he spelled business like with a Z. I'm like going, are you fucking with me? Or are you just doing like the homie? You trying to be cute with the letters or what? No, it's business. I'm like going, oh my God. You know, I'm like going, what are we doing here? But then you find out their background. I'm like, oh, okay. He quit going to school in the fucking 9th grade. Oh, it makes sense now. That's scary. That's scary to me.
Yeah. Plus the parents could be like, you know, not have a dad. He could be in prison, drug addicts, whatever. I mean, you know, dealing with a lot of stress in life. It's hard to perform. I know when I was growing up, I went to like 13 different schools, moved around, went through a lot of abuse and violence, you know, and that, and I could have ended up in, you know, one of those places, but, you know, I didn't until later on in life. But the thing is, you know, when you see this stuff hands-on a weekly basis, does it give you fulfillment to be able to like mentor these kids, help these kids? Have you seen some breakthroughs with some of the kids that you've dealt with?
I've seen the good, bad, and ugly. I've had a few kids that come by, I've came in contact with there that are no longer living because they chose that they chose to keep that lifestyle. Like seriously, like one OD'd, one got gunned down by the cops for being stupid. You know, the kid was being stupid. The cops had to gun him down because he had a gun. And yeah, there's the bad. The good is because there was one kid I actually saw out and about, took him to lunch, chatted with him. Hey, what's going on? Oh, I'm doing good now. I got a part-time job working at Safeway and yada, 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 yada. I'm thinking, cool. Here's one that's scary, talking about how much you reach. We were in Portland, which is about 3 hours away from where I live now in Bend. And we were coming back. So we're going south, right? We always make a pit stop at Sandy, Oregon. Gas up, get snacks. So I come in there. I told the one guy, hey, can I get like a fill up regular, please? So all of a sudden, this kid goes, Jody. I'm like going, I don't know anybody here in fucking Sandy, Oregon. What the fuck? Chocolate Thunder. I'm like going, okay, now this is fucking creepy. I turn around, I'm going, dude, what's up? You know, and it was one of the kids that came through the program. You know, he was a part-time job, but he just happened to help the other person. He was dealing with that customer. Saw me, came over here. What's going on, dude? And so my son and my wife was like, you know him? And I was like, oh, yes. One of the kids that, you know, I used to work with. And so that's the joy I get of it. It ain't about the money. You know, some kids get all pissed off. Oh, you're just here for a paycheck. Really? If I went to work and get paid more, I wouldn't be here. But, oh, I'm here today. I'm here tomorrow. I'm here the next day. You know, so there's always that little smart ass that wants to sit there and say that. But the joy I get is when, okay, he's doing good. He has a part-time job. Oh, he's going back taking college courses. For me, that right there, that's when I kick back and go, damn, Jody, job well done. At least you reached a couple. You may not reach all of them, but at least you reached a couple of them. That's what I get out of that.
So the rewards outweigh the disappointments and the frustrations that you might feel during your job?
Yeah, it's cool, you know? And then, you know, oh, dude, you still arm wrestle? I'm like, yeah, I still arm wrestle. I kind of told him about that. And then, oh, man, I saw your YouTube. And I'm like going, okay. You know, I'm like, all right. And then they would comment on one of my videos. I'm like going, hey, you remember me? I'm so-and-so. I'm like, oh, damn, you know.
Oh, that's cool, man.
It's close to home. It's like, oh, sweet. You know, I'm glad I kind of reached out to you. At least, you know, what I said to him meant something, you know.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Jody, man, I kept you for 2 hours. I knew it was going to be a long one. I didn't expect it to be this emotional, but
hey, man,
I really appreciate you sharing your story, and I really appreciate you being honest. And I feel like that can help people that watch this, that have gone through, you know, even some bullshit like easy shit that you might think's hard. You know, for some people it's really
Right.
difficult, but to be able to hear your story, and that's a story of perseverance and hope, and what a marriage is really about, man. It's really inspirational. I'm inspired, and when my kids come home, I'm going to give them a big hug, man. And
everybody do that when the kids come home.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like now the school's about to be out, and now vacations are starting to rev up. Now it's a good time to go ahead and go, okay, make the most of it. It's all about M&M. And I don't mean the candy. I mean making memories. That's what it comes M&M, making memories.
Yeah,
man.
I love that, man. Making memories.
That's what it's all called about, so.
Well, thanks, Jody. I appreciate you, brother. Wish you the best of luck. And when can people see you? When do you have Arm Talk going on? I know that you celebrated 8 years. When is your normal show?
There is no select day. It's just,
Okay,
it all
cool.
depends on my schedule. Whoever I pick to be my guest, their schedule, I kind of line it up, and then I'll go ahead and put it out there. But yeah, any live stuff I got, go to my YouTube. You'll see all the guests I've had on there. So you can go on there and go, oh, hey, Sarah McKinney was on there. She said, fuck you, Inge. Let me check out that interview, or the interview you and I did, or whatever. I had a lot of interviews on there. There was one with me and Cobra Rose. I mean, it's cool. So if you want to check it out, hey, go to my YouTube channel, check out the live section, and there's a big old list. You'd be like, oh, I want to see this interview. So it was cool. I mean, I enjoyed doing it. Obviously, I ain't doing it for the money, because I just do it because I love to do it. So, but yeah, go ahead and check it out. And hey, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, Craig's channel. Don't forget to do that.
All right, Jody, I appreciate you, man. I'll talk to you soon, my brother. Have a great one.
Yes, sir. Everybody, enjoy your weekend. Don't forget, game 1 of the finals tonight. Game 1, Boston and Dallas. Let's do it.
Who you got?
Actually, I'm on a third podcast show, by the way.
Okay. Sports one, right? A sports one?
Yeah, this is me, my best friend, a good friend of mine, and my son. We all have predictions.
Nice.
Who I want to win the finals is different who I got picking for the finals.
I got you.
I want Dallas to win, but I think Boston will win in 6. And my prediction was Jaylen Brown MVP. That was my prediction. So we'll have to see what goes on. But
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome, brother. Well, I'm glad that you're doing all these shows. That's incredible.
Keep myself busy and out of trouble, man.
All right, man. Take care, Jody. I'll talk